You good, man?
And we're live. All right, all right. Cool, cool. Welcome out, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Tonight's going to be fun. Tonight's going to be a little different than normal, but welcome to our Tuesday night Team Be the Change Hangout. And this is normally where we, get together every Tuesday, and our team leaders really get into talking about things that really help you move forward in your business, in your life. We do a lot of personal development stuff here. We do a lot of business training. We do a lot of marketing training for people who are online marketers and want to run their businesses and market their businesses online. That's what we're about here. And so tonight's a little bit special and a little bit different because we're going to be doing a training that really applies and pertains to every aspect and every area of your life in terms of relationships. And so, we can have this happen in business settings. This can happen in your family, in your marriage, dealing with your kids, dealing with your friends, dealing with family members. The people that we normally have to love and hang out with on holidays, and sometimes don't love in those other moments so much, but we still love them. And then also, even annoying coworkers, and how to deal with people like that. And this is not some stuffy training about conflict resolution or things you're gonna learn in a corporate boardroom or anything like that. This is fun. This is some fun stuff. This is gonna be some real cool stuff that you guys are really gonna get a lot of value out of, even if you don't run a business at all. This is gonna help you just dealing with people in general, and you might have your eyes completely just they'll just be wide open as you go through this and realize how funny it is that each person has a language they speak, and each person has a core motivation or a sign or something like that, whatever we call it, that is a really big tell that helps you understand that person. And when you learn to be able to actually understand that person and relate with that person, that's where your relationships in your life get very, very rich. And I know this from firsthand experience, as what I'm about to teach you all tonight with the help of Jordan and Amy and a few other people that we're going to bring on as examples, is something that I've made a study of over the last decade. And it's been something that, I chose to master, and not just learn, but master and apply into my life. And it's been something that has really made a difference for me in my life. So with that, I just want to kick it on over and see how everybody's doing. Jordan, Amy, how are we doing tonight?
Doing awesome. Good to be here, and I'm looking forward to this. If you guys know Chris, I know the people on our team that are here, you know Chris. If you're not on our team and you're invited here by someone on our team, you might not know Chris personally yet, but Chris is such a master at what he's going to be teaching tonight. If you know him, you know that he's amazing with people, and that he's really good at really getting into people's worlds and knowing where they're at. And because of that, he's had a lot of success because of his ability to connect with people and really get into people's worlds. It's almost eerie for me knowing him, because he even as a woman, he's able to relate to stuff that most guys don't understand. Like, he really has mastered this skill to a point of, it's weird how good he is at it. So
I'm totally losing man cards right now, totally.
But if he's talking about these languages, so I must be multilingual, which is pretty exciting, because I don't think that I fit into one of these categories that he's going to be talking about tonight. But he said that that's okay, and that he has stuff to talk about as far as that as well. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say for freaks like me that are multilingual. So so anyway, this is going to be fun. I'm excited, and just welcome, everyone. It's good to have you here. Over to you, Jordan.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for tonight because, folks, understanding people and how to speak to them and what motivates them to take action is really the key to making lots of money. It's the key to being able to sell a ton of stuff that actually helps people. You don't just want to sell stuff to people that doesn't do anything for them, but having what do you call it, ethics, behind what you're doing. But understanding how to get down to what motivates that individual person to take action is what's going to allow you to put more money in your bank account. So This training is just key. It's some stuff that I've been studying for a long time. I still don't know it nearly as well as Chris, nor apply it as well as Chris. But that being said, this kind of stuff is what's going to help you start to be able to make more money in your business. So, and like Chris said, the cool thing is you'll understand how to communicate with people, even if you don't, run an online business or run a home business or have to speak to people in that fashion. It's still good to know how to communicate effectively with people and know like how to get down to the core of what's going to motivate them to do other things in life as well. So, just all good stuff. I'm excited. That'll pass it back over to Chris.
Right on, man. Right on. Yeah. Well, the cool thing with this stuff is that it is something that really, everybody has that one person that just really gets on their nerves, like to their last nerve. The person that they just loathe. The person they're just like, why can't I understand this person? Or why can't this person just actually listen to me? Why do they not hear what I say when other people say, can respond to me and understand what I say just fine? And so there's always, that wondering, like, why is it that person won't listen to me? Well, the real answer is that it's because you're not really speaking their language. You're not speaking to their core dominant motivations and what makes them who they are, how they're wired. And so, to quickly point out how, Amy had talked about she's multilingual. This is going to be really cool to see because we have some cool examples tonight that what I've wanted to remind people of is this is not a personalities training. Now, oftentimes we refer to this as the personalities, the 4 core personalities a lot of the time. Some of you have gone through training that talk about these 4 basic personalities. And we're not talking about crazy, we're not doing these Myers-Briggs type crazy personality tests that you have to fill out for a half hour and answer all these questions. And then they give you these 4 letters that tell you all these different things about it. We're not talking about any of that stuff, okay? This is not that. This is not putting a label on people and putting them in a box. It's not that. What we're going to do here is talk about the main things that dominantly motivate people, the main things that dominantly move you, that put a fire in your belly, that make your blood boil, the things that really make things real for you in your life. And these things, someone can be very, very well-rounded in the way that they operate, that may appear to be that they have all of these qualities, and in fact they do, yet there is normally a dominant one that will stand out, that will rule out over the other ones if given the choice. And so that's a little bit of what I'm going to get into tonight, and I can see Amy already typing. She's probably got some kind of smart-ass comment for me in the chat. All right, this is going to be fun tonight. All right, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So all right, let's do we have any other announcements for tonight yet at all? Or are we just going to go ahead and get into this thing? I take that as a no. All right, guys, cool.
Wait. Jordan, do you want to mention anything about the team thing that's happening this week, or do you want to mention that or no?
I mean, I suppose we could mention a little bit. Yeah, we sent out emails. We started sending out emails today. You noticed it in the team Facebook group. We're doing a private team members only training. So if you're not part of the team yet and you want to get on this training, you can join with the person who invited you here tonight for just $25. You can get plugged in at the basic membership level, and you'll get an invite to Thursday night's live webinar where we're going to be going and digging into what most of the top earners inside of Empower Network have done extremely successfully to become top earners. We're going to be digging it apart, tearing it apart, showing you exactly what they do, and then sharing with you how you can begin implementing into your business. So it's going to be a killer training. I can't wait for it. But you got to be part of the team for this. So if you're not part of the team, definitely join right now with the person who invited you here, and you'll get that invite. If you are part of the team, go look in the Facebook group or be on the lookout for some emails for the webinar, and just go register right away. Anything else you guys want to say about that?
No, I mean that's perfect, because I had sent an email out to the team earlier saying, we got 3 things this week. One of them is this training tonight on Tuesday. On Thursday, we have that special team-only training that you have to be a member and be on the inside for. And on that particular training, we've got a surprise for you as well at the end of it. So cool stuff this week. A lot going on. Really excited about it. So yeah, right on. Got anything, Amy?
Be there or be square.
Short and sweet. All right, awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can, real quickly here, let me bring this up, bring my slides up here again. And I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to pop right into this and get into some fun stuff here, guys. And this I think you're really going to love. It's way cool. Way, way cool. So, where are we at? Screen share. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Cool. Okay, guys. So here we go. How to market to the 4 core signs. And we'll talk about the signs here in a minute. Strategies to instantly find out that dominant motivator in anyone, anywhere, at any time, and speak their language. All right. So what this currently does for me, I just want to let you guys know, so why are you listening to me here? Why are you even here? Why should you even pay attention to what I'm teaching you here? And let me just point out real quick, this is not to blow my whistle or my horn or to impress you, but just simply to impress upon you that what I'm doing here has results. This is backed up with these numbers. It's allowed me to attain the highest upgrade rates inside of Empower Network with an all-in percentage of 20%, which is the highest out of 40,000 active affiliates, approximately. So that's 1 out of 5. For those of you that know Empower Network, which is the main primary company that our team promotes, that is the highest that we know of that I've verified with down at the front office. Now, the cool thing about that is that I actually don't recruit a lot compared to a lot of other people, but my income is very, very similar. Because of this, because of being able to upgrade people. As a matter of fact, just to be transparent and clear, I said this on stage as well, I've probably made a basic sale about an average of every week that Empower Network has been in business, just a little bit less than that, which is a couple years, a little bit more than 2.5 years now, I believe. And so essentially, coming from that, those of you that know the company would look at that and go, okay, that's pretty high, like that you would know. For those of you that don't know, don't worry about it. It's high. 25% of my team members own the 15K formula or internet traffic formula, which is 1 out of 4. And so that's one of the highest as well inside of Empower. In terms of percentages, okay, there may be people that have a lot more people in, more members, more basic sales, but my percentage is very high for what I do. And what that really means is what we call front-end customer value, which is $11.40 instead of only making a $25 sale. When I make a $25 sale, I can actually turn it into $1,140 on average every time I make a sale, and that does not include any pass-ups or recurring subscriptions. So that's if I get on the phone with someone and they make a basic sale, then I can turn that into $1,140, and that's what I'm going to show you guys tonight. Okay, so first off, quick backstory about how this worked. I was about 19, and I took a summer off from working construction and insulation and all the different things I was doing growing up, working in the trades, and I decided to try my hand at car sales. My older brother-in-law was working at a dealership as a sales manager and told me, you've got the personality, why don't you come in and try your hand at car sales? And so I came in and I did that at 19. And what I went through, the training they gave me, when I went into orientation and I went into sales training, it just blew me away that all that was really taught was what to say to people. And then you were taught scripts. Literally, you practiced scripts and wrote scripts out in a notebook of the exact things to say if this person says this, of the objection to overcome. And I remember like really just writing out these scripts and telling myself, this is just complete BS. This is crazy. Like, I can understand how this may get someone to still listen to you a little bit, but this has got to get annoying. Like, it literally, when I tried to do it, I would get sick to my stomach. And so what I found out worked for me was when I was showing cars and selling cars for that summer, which I actually did really well doing it. It's because I threw that script book out the door, and I just said, I can't do it this way. This just doesn't feel like it's integrity with me. If I say those things to people, then for me, I felt like, they'd be walking away with a sour taste in their mouth, and this person was trying to really just swindle them into buying a car with saying things that really didn't matter. And I didn't want to not matter. I wanted to matter. I wanted to matter where it made sense to matter. And so I started just talking to people and taking a general interest in them. And I'd read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that book, it taught me the questions of, forming people. A lot of you have heard of the acronym FORM. So I started doing that. And FORM just basically stood for Family, Occupation, Recreation, Message. And so it just helps you start asking particular questions of people about their lives and getting them talking about themselves. And a lot of that has to do tonight, what I'm going to be teaching you tonight has to do with that, except I'm going to teach you how to understand what they're telling you when they respond. And so you'll know and understand what motivates people. It's actually quite simple. Funny enough, it's almost hidden in plain sight. So I actually found myself doing very well, which, funny enough, later on, as I'll talk about, those same people that I sold cars to, I still have business relationships with now, and I eventually sold houses to them as a realtor because they liked me that much. So this is what happened to me. I left that dealership, and then I decided I went to my last semester of college, dropped out of college. It wasn't for me. Just couldn't stand it. I just don't like the schedules and everything. I wasn't that type of person. And then I took off to California and spent about 4 to 5 months living in California, jumping around to different friends and family. I was actually at one of my sister's house at the time in Placerville, California, where I was staying with her for a couple weeks, and I was reading a particular book that showed me for the first time these 4 signs. And I remember the moment I started to read it, and I took the little test, which only took a moment, and I started to read the different signs, and my eyes just basically popped out of my head, and I was like, wow, I've been kind of naturally doing some of this, but now I actually understand how people operate. And so I started to make a study of it, and I started to read other books and find everything I could find on these 4, what I don't like to call personalities, although some people call them that. But if you really paint that box and picture and paint somebody into a corner and a label of just a personality, you really miss the point here with people. You really do. And so I've never thought of it as where I'm typing people out as a personality. I'm actually understanding what moves them. So I moved back to Alaska after spending time in California, and I start my business as a real estate agent. And at 22 years old, I start my business as a real estate agent, working as an assistant for my broker, and then I jump out, and my first full year, from nothing, I earned $107,000 in gross commissions. And yes, of course, at the time, real estate was starting to get good. It had not exploded like it did, a couple years later. But I did that much as a 23-year. I started at 22. I was 23 by the time this happened. I'm 23 years old. I'm looking at this number, and I'm like, my God, from nothing. Now, what I mean from nothing is that this was built because I did not have a budget when I was starting in real estate. That was all from personal relationships, networking, and referrals. People I had known, built relationships with in the past, and they trusted me enough to come to me for real estate needs. And people that I met out, I'd just get out and be social and talk to a lot of people, and before long it would come up as to, hey, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? I'm a realtor. I sell houses. I sell real estate. Blah, blah, blah. Before long, I just gained clients that way. I didn't do any marketing. I didn't place any ads. I didn't do any of that stuff, and I just helped people buy these houses. I was really a buyer's rep. What they call a buyer's rep, helping people find houses, because if I actually had a listing for a house, I needed to spend money to advertise the house, and I had no money. So all I started out was a buyer's rep. So I did this helping people buy houses. I didn't even have listings. I didn't even sell houses that first year. Towards the end of it, I started to sell a couple. So this is all based on building trust with people and understanding their needs and being able to tell them, look, I can help you with your needs. And so that's how I started. And this is what I mastered over the majority of my 20s, selling real estate. So continuing on, Then I used this simultaneously while I was in real estate at building my network marketing business locally up in Fairbanks, Alaska, with a lot of you who are familiar with Empower Network, with our company founder, David Wood. And we built a large local team teaching these core motivation strategies to our people. And funny enough, our town was not that big, but we had a group of, I think it was close to 500 people at some point that, I mean, our group exploded in this little town. Everybody I know got a DVD of our company at least 3 times because we taught people how to do this so well. We really exploded. But it was a small market locally, so it didn't, really happen, sustain itself for a long time. And we got really burnt out doing it the old school way of, talking to people and everything. And so what I found out is that I learned to apply these methodologies to the online marketing space, where I can interact with people over the phone or on Hangouts or on Skype, or also in my marketing, automating this stuff now that I understand people's motivations. And so everyone I know who I taught this to back in Fairbanks, Alaska with my team when we were building this network marketing company, everyone I know honestly applied this methodology in their life, has told me it transformed their closest relationships. They actually got it. And their business relationships. It was transformational to these people who really picked it up and decided to learn it and apply it in their life. I've had many, 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 many people tell me this was transformational for them. So, moving right along, I got out of real estate, started in online marketing, and was working directly with David Wood before he launched Empower Network, and I worked as his senior marketing strategist. Now, a lot of you are like, what's that? Well, that's essentially I was the coach. I was the person that gave someone a strategy session when they were getting started new and they wanted to know what to do. I got on the line with them, did some coaching, helped them get in the right direction, and then also upgraded them and recommended products to them, information products, how-to products to help them build their business. And so I did 1-hour coaching sessions where I upgraded 6 out of 10 people into $500 and $3,000 packages daily. Now, some of you in the industry, you see that and you're like, bull. Nobody does that. But I'm telling you, through the genius of David Wood and developing this system, by the time they got to me and what I did, I was able to do this all the time. I was able to do this consistently 60%, if not more. I mean, that was just when we were doing it in the middle of it. Towards the end, I probably even got better and was doing more. It seemed like almost everybody I talked to, I upgraded at least into a $500 package. So this skill set of connecting with people, understanding what they need, and giving it to them really helped. Obviously, it's really what's paid me well over the years. Now, because I was so able to connect with people and understand people, David Wood and the company owners of Empower and the leadership, they chose me to be the exclusive interviewer. Now, a lot of you who are in Empower Network, which is most of you here, own the Inner Circle product, and a lot of you have listened to my interviews that I've done. They actually chose me to do the interviews, to interview the top leaders in the company, and simply that was because of my ability to ask the right questions and cut to the core of somebody, of these leaders, and really understand where they're coming from. That's why David Wood entrusted me to be able to do that. And so that, as a lot of you know, I mean, the product of that is amazing. I mean, we have people who are even on this webinar that have listened to these recordings 10, 15 times over, and these are leaders, and one of them, isn't that right, Amy? I think you've listened to a lot of these quite a few times, my interviews.
Yeah, I listened to some of them again today. I mean, I listen to them over and over again. And every time I listen to them, I get something new. And I think, I've been listening to some of them for 2.5 years, and I think part of it is I'm not the same person as I was 2.5 years ago, so I hear things that apply to me now that I wasn't ready for then. And, I also hear stuff that I might have missed the first time around, or, the nice thing about those audios is that you can listen to them when you're multitasking, which is what I usually do. I mean, it's what they're designed for. So I'm usually hiking, running, cleaning, mowing the lawn, doing laundry. I'm usually doing something while I'm listening to those audios. And so what I found is that sometimes when I'm listening to one for like the 10th time, I'm like, wow, like there's something that I just might have completely missed because maybe I was driving and I needed to pay close attention in that moment and I miss something. There's so much value in like every minute of those things that I recommend listening to them over and over again.
I can't hear you. Hopefully it's not. Oh, okay. There you go. Okay. Cut out for a second there, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So yeah, that's just proof. I just wanted to point that out there that, you know, leaders listen to audios and someone who has created a six-figure income in their business right here, Amy, who's one of my closest business partners and friends, still listens to those. So that may be just something that helps you understand that what we're going to show you tonight here is that pivotal and that critical in your life, if you choose to allow it to be. Okay. All right. So. Like I said, you know, I think this is actually a duplicate of the slide just to bring us up to current state now that Empower started. You know, I've gotten these upgrade rates, these customer values, and this is what it allowed me to do last year inside of Empower Network. And that number, funny enough, is actually a little low than what it was.
Chris, I don't know about you, Jordan, but the only slide I see is the same slide that's been there the whole time, how to market the 4 core signs. That's the only slide I've seen.
Yeah, it's been stuck on that slide the whole time.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't know if you had other slides or when you were going to
I've gone through like 6 slides now.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm seeing some other ones.
Oh, I know what it is. Okay. All right, I got it. Sorry, guys. Okay. So yeah, that makes more sense. I wish you guys would have been able to, you know, probably would have been easier to follow along. You know how I use this. I was just like talking, and they're like, "Yeah, Chris, okay."
Well, we just thought you were off on, you know, rambling like you usually do.
That's exactly what I thought.
I'm actually very, very organized tonight, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, how, you know, I was talking about California and how I started my business, you know, at 22 and, you know, real estate, 107,000 from nothing, you know. So yeah, sorry guys, okay. And how this happened in my life, how I did all these things, taught these things to people in my team, and, you know, did the coaching sessions, upgraded 6 out of 10 people into $500, $300,000 packages daily, and the reason why I did the inner circle interviews. And a lot of you may be like, wow, you're kind of full of yourself, you're talking yourself up here. Well, I just really wanted to do this to show you guys how valuable this is tonight, because what you'll find out later in some of this stuff is that you'll realize that I'm not really all about getting the attention. In fact, at times I shy away from it. I don't on these hangouts because I love you guys, you know, but there's times even Dave will try to call me on stage and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to go up there. So yeah, all right. So this was the you know, the main slide that says, you know, what this does for me. You know, the highest upgrade rates inside of Empower with an all-in percentage of 20, and then 25 for the 15K or the internet traffic formula, and front-end customer value at 1140. You know, not just 25. So now essentially that brings me to here. Knowing this stuff is the main reason why the majority of that income shows up on that check right there from last year. That's my 2013 annual earnings. And funny enough, that was printed off automatically from our back office, which there was a few errors they had to correct, and they actually had to cut me checks for a few things that they missed. So the real income actually was about 162,000 or so instead of 145. But hey, who's counting? Close enough, right? And so because of this, I was chosen to speak at our regional event, Impact 2014 in Seattle, Washington, where I actually showed people the other part of this training, which I'm going to be giving to our members on the inside, this training and an extended version of it that shows people the actual structure and process of how to upgrade people. And so what I'm showing you tonight is the part on how to understand people and how to relate and how to connect and how to understand people. What I taught them was the other part of it, which is the business part of it, and how you can apply that to any business that you have. If you have any point where you're connecting with somebody on the phone or, you know, through Skype or email or whatever, you can use that training. But what I'm talking about tonight is understanding the signs of people, the signs they give you, okay, which is why I call it signs.
Hey, Chris, before you get into this, man, I know you had something on the slide there, but I want to just make sure that we're compliant and everything, that your $162,000 a year income is not average. I know it says that below there, but we got to tell you, folks, our average, that's not average, and if you want to see the average earnings within our company, you can go to empowernetwork.com/income to check out the average earnings. Because obviously what Chris earned there is above average.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And I just get going here, so I usually can remember, but Yeah, that's very true. I'm not, yeah, I went freaking crazy about that. So that really, it depends on your own personal effort, guys, and we can show you this stuff, but it's really your business and your responsibility, and you have to take the tools and put in the work, and this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You have to do the work and run your business. So everybody's results may vary, as with any opportunity, as with anything. uh, Common sense would dictate that there's people performing above average and also people that perform below average. And some people won't make any money at all. My personal opinion is because they quit too early. But some people won't make money at all, and we just have to legally let you know that. So, and we're proud to be able to say that our income disclosure goes above and beyond what any company has in an income disclosure document. And for the person who referred you here, if you want to see that, just let them know that you want to see that. They'll send you that link to our real-time, updated every 24 hours income disclosure document that talks about how much money people make. We're not hiding anything, okay? So back to the slides. And so what is really required to do this? If you're the type of person that wants to really change the nature of some of the relationships that are not going well for you in your life, whether they be personal or family or friends or business or work at your job, if you want to be able to change this, then there's a few things that you need to be able to make sure that you do. And that really is a genuine willingness to listen to others and want to know what makes them tick. And a lot of you may say, well, I don't know if I like people that much. And that's okay, because the way we're going to show you to find that out tonight actually makes it fun. It actually is hilarious when you get into it to see how people will tell you their signs of what works for them when we actually show you what to look for by asking the same questions that you would normally ask someone, yet you're going to be able to understand it. You're going to understand where they're coming from. So, and the important part here is, when you're talking to someone and asking people these questions, you don't want to be thinking of the next question to ask while they're talking. If you do that, you're missing the point. That's why we'll give you a structure. That's why we use form, so you already know what to ask next after you have actually sat and listened to what people say. So when they're talking, you're not thinking about, okay, what's the next thing I can ask them to keep this conversation going. You're actually listening. There's nothing going on in your mind except listening to what they're telling you, and you're starting to file away and make note of and remember the points that they're telling you, which are going to help you understand their sign. And we'll get into that here. So also, an important thing is never interrupt someone in the middle of their sentence. That breaks trust, because what you're doing here is also, when you get someone talking about themselves, it builds trust. The real secret to all of this is getting someone to talk about themselves, and you wouldn't believe, people are so self-absorbed in our society that they don't really open their ear and listen to people. Everybody just wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be recognized and heard and understood, but yet they don't seek always to understand others. And when someone actually does that, people go, wow, this person I feel like I can trust. This person I feel like will actually listen to me and understand me, so I'm going to tell them things that I won't even normally tell people, which I can understand. So remember not to interrupt people, because if you're interrupting them, then that's a clear thing. That's a clear statement to them that what you're saying is not important, and I've got something more important to say. A very important element. When I was on stage talking to people about this, I did talk about this a little bit, and I told them, when they start talking, you shut up. You don't say a word. You wait till they're finished talking. Now, obviously, if someone's rambling on and on and on, and you have a limited time, then at some point you want to be able to catch them, not in the middle of a sentence, but at the end of a sentence, and be able to redirect the conversation with another question that may not take them an hour to answer. But that's a rare case. Doesn't normally happen like that very often, so not to worry about it, but it's just something to remember. Never interrupt people, okay? So the ultimate goal here is to get people talking about themselves, understand why they do what they do. And really, guys, it is easy. A lot of you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go through and do all this hard mental thinking and all that. No, it's actually quite easy, and I'll show you, okay? So here's what it is: to be able to talk to that person based on their motivation. Another way of saying that, speak their language, okay? So this is what it comes down to. First, we form people, all right? Family, occupation, recreation, and me, I don't say message, which is what a lot of people who teach form. It's a very well-known term in the industry and in lots of industries. But I say motivation, because once I get down to motivation, then I've listened to their first three, I've asked them these questions, and then I start asking deeper questions, because I'm starting to get a better idea of who they are and why they're doing what they do. And so just as an example here, when you're asking about family, it's real simple. I mean, it's real simple questions. Are you married? Do you have kids? Where you from? How long you lived there, or how long you lived here? Where you originally from? That's things that gets people opening up and talking about themselves. I mean, how many of you honestly ask yourself, if someone asks you where you're from, are you not going to tell them? If someone asks you, do you have kids? If you have kids, you're always happy to talk about your kids, and you may be one of those people that pulls pictures out of your wallet or your purse right away to show them, or on your phone. And these are the things that are easy to be able to get people to start opening up. That's why we normally start with family, because people will start to open up right away and tell you about their lives, and they start getting comfortable. Okay, how long you lived here? That helps them understand where they're at in their life. And obviously occupation. Real simple, guys. What do you do? How did you get into that? Why did you choose that? What do you like best about what you do? Did you go to school for that? You can start digging deeper into why they chose their profession, which is going to be a very big tell into their primary motivation, into their primary sign. So the next one, recreation, obviously. What do you do in your free time? What do you do for fun? Do you have any hobbies? I mean, this is not rocket science, guys. A lot of you thought that I was going to give you these crazy secret, stealth lines to say, and it's not about the lines. It's not about all that. It's about taking a genuine interest. The cool part's coming up, though. The cool part is what you're actually going to understand when you ask people these questions. So obviously, let's move on to the next one. And this is what I mean by sign. It's actually another acronym, and we are learning their sign. SIGN, strengths, interests, goals, and needs. So when I'm actually talking to somebody on the phone, I've actually got a paper where I've got family, occupation, recreation, motivation with a blank line here, and I'm writing stuff down when I'm asking them questions. Occupation, I write down. If they're a real estate agent or a lawyer, I'm writing all that down. And I've got on the bottom half of the page, I've got the strengths, interests, goals, and needs. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm writing next to it what their strengths are by listening to them. And I never do it on the computer where I'm typing when I'm talking to somebody, because they can hear that typing. And I think that's really rude. And people can hear that, and they start to think, well, what are you doing? What are you typing? They start to not trust you. They think you're either replying to another email from somebody else, which means they're not taking you seriously. You're not taking them seriously, and so they don't want to tell you anything, because they're like, well, why am I telling this person? They're probably replying to an email and not even listening to me. Or two, they know that you're typing stuff out about what you're asking them, and that freaks them out. And so you don't want to do that either. So I actually always do the old school way. I write it down on a piece of paper, and I just use handwriting and write it out, so they can't hear me, and I can write down what I need to. So let's just get into this, guys. The 4 signs revealed. All right. Now, a lot of people, this has been used a lot, and people like to put their different terminology on it. Some trainers like to call it gems. You'll hear them refer to like a ruby or a sapphire or things like that. And then you'll hear people talk about colors, which I've used some colors here just to differentiate. And then you have people that use animals, like an otter and a lion and a golden retriever and stuff like that. I've studied all of those and tried to draw the correlations and make sure if I could learn something new from each one of those and get more insight into what it was that person said that maybe the other trainer didn't have. So this is really a conglomeration where I'm standing on the shoulders of others who have done this. So we'll just go around the horn here real quick, and this is first one on the left is an achiever. And now achiever, these people are essentially the results and challenges people. They love competition. They love, they're all about getting to the point, those types of people. I'm going to get into all these individually here, but I'm going to quickly graze over them right now. We've got the socializer. Obviously, almost pretty much speaks for itself. You can really get the idea. This is the party person. This is the person that likes people, likes a lot of fun. Some of you who are on our team know that there's somebody on this particular hangout that is a screaming socializer. That's pretty much their main primary motivator. And then we've got the helper, who is someone who's all about one-on-one causes, contributions, the greater good, bigger causes, salt of the earth people, really good people. And then we've got the calculator. Well, what does a calculator do? What does an actual calculator do? The actual object, a calculator. Well, it solves problems. The calculators are the people that are task-oriented, facts and figures, that type of stuff. So let's get into the first one here and get in depth into it and have some fun here. So let's start off with the socializer. And these people are dominantly motivated by fun and people. They're really the cheerleaders. I like to call them that. They are, their natural strengths are, they're the partiers. They're enthusiastic. They're always optimistic. They always see the good in people. They often never really even. I don't think they have an ability to see the bad in people, really. People who are really just true blue socializers are just very optimistic and see the best in everything, and that's how they look at the world. People love being around them because of that. They're amazing communicators, not just good communicators, and they're very, emotional, passionate people, very motivational. People will follow these people everywhere. They follow them because they're interesting, and they always give them a stimulation. They're very outgoing. They connect with people. They're gifted with people. They can be dramatic, very creative, spontaneous. You're starting to understand the type of person I'm describing here. They're the people that are the life of the party. They're inspirational, adventurous, energetic, full of charisma. And, their interests really are anything that has to do with people. Anything new and trendy, wants everyone to have a good time. Here's the funny thing. Normally, socializers are not naturally organized, except when it comes to things that are fun. They don't want the boring stuff. Things that are boring, they can't handle. That's a different sign. But people like this, they'll organize a party and make it happen better than anybody. They love to travel. They love that freedom. They're normally the type of people that like loud, upbeat music that's really gets you going, stimulating you. And their goals are to have fun in their work. Anything that allows more fun, freedom, to have more parties. That's essentially the point of it. If you talk to someone who's a true blue socializer, well, let's just, hey, Jordan, come on out for a second, bud. It's no big mystery here.
Right. What's going on?
Yeah. So I can just say here, I just want to ask you a quick question. You're an internet marketer. You're an online marketer. You love what you do. Now, why do you love what you do? Tell me. Just go ahead and just forget looking at the screen, but just tell me what do you love about what you do?
What do I love about what I do, like as far as like what I do for internet marketing?
Yeah.
Well, example, yesterday I woke up at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I planned a dinner party last night, and I remember we were driving around town to get everything we needed, all the food and liquor and all that stuff. And I kept seeing like sign dancers on the street looking miserable, and I'm like, man, that would suck to have that job. And then I thought about it, and I said, man, it would actually just really suck to have any job. I like freedom, so it's such a blessing to be free to do whatever I want when I want to do it. Now I still work insanely hard when I do work, which makes up for the time that I don't work. But yeah, I suppose that's probably the biggest thing, man, the freedom to do what I want when I want to do it.
Yeah, and that was the question: is why do you work so hard?
Mm-hmm.
And that really comes down to because you want to be able to have more fun, right? So you can have those dinner parties, you can have that freedom.
Yep.
Okay. So this is essentially, it's funny enough, like your tagline for what you do, you call yourself. Go ahead.
The director of fun.
Exactly. There you go. Okay. So someone, their needs normally, their goals are to have fun. Their needs are to have, freedom, and they need to make sure that they're in groups. They're very group oriented. So recognition is big in terms of getting recognized, but also recognizing people. They love to be able to do that. They love to be able to shout out to people across the room and point out the best in them. That's what they do. And being able to approve of others and then have people approve of them. It's a give and take thing. People, these types of socializers love that. They love the freedom. They love to connect with people in groups and have fun, stimulation, and the room to grow with a lot of that. And then obviously, once again, more people to party with.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't want to mean to interrupt, but I don't know if you're going to just go over this later, but when I look at the 4 categories, I feel like Jordan fits into all of them really strongly. I get that he's definitely social, but he's also very much the other 3, and that's how I feel about myself too. So
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that was going to bring me to my next point.
Okay, good.
You always do that. You're good at that. So what I'm going to do here is, actually, before I go to the next one, I'm going to jump back, and I'm going to have you look visually at what this is. Now, what we normally find is we call these crossovers. Okay, and you've got someone who's got a dominant motivation that helps them make their decisions, like what Jordan just explained with what makes his decisions. He's not going to make a decision based on some of these others, although he displays a lot of qualities of the others. But what you'll find is you have a dominant motivation, and then you have a secondary one that helps you as well, and then you will integrate some of the other stuff into what you do as well, but you normally have a dominant one. And what I was pointing out there with Jordan is that he's got a dominant one. However, we know that if you go from socializer over here to achiever, Jordan has some of that in him as well, quite a bit of it actually. And so his secondary motivation to me would be, from what I've seen, is really achiever more than probably the others, although he's got a lot of a helper in him as well, naturally.
And he's the Rain Man calculator.
Yeah, he's like a savant at math, So, so he's got that, and that's the thing, is that we're not necessarily talking about putting somebody in a box and saying they only have one. We're talking about what dominantly motivates them, because if you do this, if you see how I'm moving my mouse right here, if you're gonna, what we call this are unnatural crossovers, because they're pretty much, the motivations are diametrically opposed to each other in the way that you make decisions. Okay, not in how you always operate and what you do, but in how you make decisions. So a calculator who is pretty much diametrically opposed to a socializer is going to make, none of their decisions are based on fun and people. It's really more so on facts and figures, what makes complete sense, what the numbers say, and the process. And I'll get into a lot more about the calculator here in a minute. But whenever you see a crossover like this, or
I don't see your mouse. Do you see his mouse, Jordan? No.
Okay, all right, good to know, thank you. So the socializer and the calculator, you can see, if you make an X through these, the lines that you draw, if you just make a straight X from top left to bottom right, and then from top right to bottom left, those are the unnatural crossovers that happen less of the time. I'm actually one of those with my primary and secondary as well. I'll get into that in a bit. But the natural crossovers are the ones that are, achiever to socializer, socializer to achiever, or calculator to helper, helper to calculator, or achiever to calculator, or socializer to helper. But if you're doing the X where you're crossing, those are the unnatural ones that happen less, but they do happen. And we've got a couple of them here tonight as well. But what we're looking at here is, I know, Amy, you display talents and qualities of all of these, but I will prove to you by the end of the night, you'll see that I can still speak to your dominant motivations. So, keeping that in mind, let's move on and understand the next personality type, and this will start to unfold for you. Actually, hold on, let me finish up here with the socializer. Just real quickly, what you'll find and how you actually identify these people, is they're really just the best promoters out there. Funny enough, even Jordan, his teaching that he did at the last event was on how to do a promotion. I mean, because it's what comes naturally to him, because socializers know how to promote. They understand people better than anything. They know how to move people. And they're great delegators, which a lot of you don't know that about, what Jordan does, but this is mostly how he operates in terms of his business as well. And he's, like I said, great at organizing a dinner party, which was funny. that you have actually happened, and I was talking about that. That's funny. And how what really moves a socializer is social proof. Testimonials are the big thing for socializers. Socializers are normally the very people that think out loud. They solve problems by thinking out and speaking the actual problem out. They're the ones that think out loud a lot. So that's how you'll normally identify how someone is dominantly motivated by fun and people and connection. Is this is the way they operate. This is the way they're wired in terms of what moves them. Now, they may have great qualities about organization and solving problems and everything else, but it's not necessarily how they make decisions. It's not how they operate primarily. So, and I'll explain this here as a perfect example is the calculators, which I'm going to get more into. They very much like consistent schedules, doing things on time, being very organized. Everything has its own box. Everything is in place. And a consistent schedule to a socializer is like bondage. You heard the first thing Jordan said. I mean, he's a great example. Now Jordan has a lot of these as well, but he's a great example where he said, I woke up at 11 o'clock because I could. You know, like a consistent schedule, getting up at a certain time every day would be depressing to him. Eating the same thing every day would be depressing. To a calculator, which we're going to bring somebody out like that here soon. We've actually got Peric coming out here because he's pretty much what I've identified, you know, dominantly motivated by the calculator sign. So that's what I've got for that, and we're going to move on. Real quick here, any questions, Amy or Jordan, any other thoughts here on the socializer?
I don't think so.
Okay. The ways you'll also be able to identify people that are socializers is obviously people, you know, that are socializers in large groups. You normally can actually identify them by even just looking at them, because normally they're the people that have the trendy clothes. Not always. Not always. Now Jordan's got good clothes, but you know you can.
I bought most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, socializers are like to be able to be in groups and fit in that type of thing. So you'll see that with them, even when the way they shake your hand. They're normally the type of person that their presence is very inviting, and they'll shake your hand, and they'll shake your hand pretty vigorously when they meet you, because they're really happy to connect with you, really happy to meet you. Which, on the other hand, maybe as with the diametrically opposed sign of a calculator, they're gonna, you know, shake your hand 3 firm but not too firm shakes, and then take their hand away. It's just a completely different way of operating, right? It's kind of funny. But let's move into helper and talk a little bit more about the other sign that is very much has to do with people, very much a right-brained type of operating. So the helper is motivated by a desire for good relationships and well-being, and in an organization, they're normally the backbones. They're the first ones to show up. They're the last to leave. They're fiercely loyal. You've really got to do a lot to these people to get them to go away because they're loyal. You know, like they want to be able to be there. That's a part of what makes them happy. They're the team players. They're extremely empathetic and compassionate, dependable, warm, reliable people. Very agreeable, tolerant, and they're the sentimental people, definitely. And they sorry here, I'm gonna move over. These people. They're really all about, you know, humanity. I mean, they've got a cause for humanity. One of the biggest things that motivate these people is the greater good. They're all about causes and contributions. The way you'll normally identify these people is they wear very comfortable clothing. They're the type of people that you'll find in health food stores a lot. If we're just gonna get some tips that tip you off to people that are motivated by this type of thing, they like, you know, like me, like I actually do a lot of this where, you know, I shop in health food stores pretty much exclusively. You know, I buy all organic products. I know Jordan does too, because he's got some of this in him too. But the person who is the real helper that you're going to be able to motivate, knowing this about them, is that, you know, whatever's positive about them, They want to be in groups. They like working in projects with groups. They've got a natural interest in spirituality, whether it's their church or lots of different things they study. The type of music they listen to, unlike the socializers, which normally like really loud, upbeat, stimulating music, these people, you'd say one of their favorite songs would probably be Eric Clapton, Change the World. Easy listening, relaxing music. That's how you'll normally identify people that are motivated by this. They love to help out with anything, and they like to enjoy friends. Normally smaller groups, even one-on-one, they're the best where they can fully engage and listen. That's the interests of a helper. And their real goals, they want to be able to trust. They like to be a part of organizations and things they can trust to serve more efficiently. And they're the peacemakers. They want everyone to get along and to really contribute. They want to make sure everyone's safe and comforting and to help others. So you're starting to understand this type of person. And when you ask them, what they do, normally their jobs are going to be, if whatever profession or job or business they have, it's going to solve these issues. They're going to be the ones that just love helping people. It's what it really comes down to. They love it. They love that kind of thing. They're the warmest people that you'll find, true blue helpers, and very patient with people. And so their needs, their real needs, and when you ask them about what they like about what they do, and why did they choose the profession they did, or you get them talking about their family, which is really big for helpers normally, is their needs are all about healthy relationships, being a part of something that matters. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Something that matters and means something greater than themselves. That's what it really comes down to, is they want to be a part of something that matters. They want to be a part of it. They want to do their part. They don't need the spotlight. They don't need to be in front. They don't want to be the leaders. They don't want to be the ones that take charge. They don't have that natural inclination. They don't have to. They would rather see the person who wants to lead. They would rather support them in being the leader because they want to see them be who they are. So this type of a person, just talking with them, very quickly you'll recognize these people that have a heart for people. They love people. Through and through, they just love people. That's a helper. And those are going to be pretty diametrically opposed to some of the other not personalities, they even said it. It's tough to go back there, but these motivations and signs, you'll see they're quite different. So real quick here, Amy or Jordan, any thoughts on this one?
I'm all these. Like this is definitely me. I love comfortable clothes and healthy food.
Yeah, and so I'll just say this now that we're at this point, I was going to actually point this out as well, that your primary dominant one is probably going to be in this realm, because this is where you make a lot of your decisions. Although there's another one that you operate a lot in as well, but this, I would probably say, if I had to choose all four, or if I had to choose one out of four, which I really wouldn't say with you there is, but everyone has a dominant one that's stronger than the other ones, I'd probably say this is you.
Okay, I disagree. I still disagree with the fact that there's one dominant one, because I don't think I have a dominant one. But
sure.
I'm open to you proving me wrong tonight.
Sure. Okay, awesome. All right, so real quick here.
Yeah, I wanted to jump on. I was trying to talk, but I was muted. So, the thing about that is, Amy, I believe because you've been in the industry so long and you've been studying people so long, and studying all these different personality types, you actually start to become, the more you study this information, you actually start to become and blend into all the different areas. I've done a lot of training over the years to go from, you wouldn't believe it, but I did not used to be a socializer. I used to be shy and afraid to meet people, and this was all the way into my late teens, if not even longer, actually, into my early 20s. But through all the studying that we've done of this over the years, and learning about different personality types and what makes them that, we want to blend in with people so we can communicate more effectively with them, so we actually just naturally start to take on all these different personality types. I actually had a course years ago that the entire intention of the course was to help you, and you might have even gone through that one too. I can't think of what it was called off the top of my head right now. But the entire intention was to take you from being primarily one dominant personality type to training your mind and training you to start blending into all the other areas so you could become all four, you become balanced. And that way you're able to more effectively communicate with everyone. So I think that's honestly probably what happened with you since you've been studying it for so long. But
But I
I could be
haven't
wrong
been
on that as well.
studying it at all. Every time this training has come in front of me a lot over the years, but I
Hmm.
glaze over every time, and I just like because for me, like I say, I resist it because I don't agree with it. So
Right.
I'm like I am not one of these dominant. I'm all of them, and so therefore I feel like everybody's probably all of them, and maybe some people have a dominant one, but I don't know. I have not studied this stuff, so I don't feel like
Gotcha.
that's got anything to do with it. But I feel like I've definitely got leader traits, and I've got, this speaks to me so much. I've always been a social person. I'm, less social than I used to be since I quit drinking or whatever. Like I'm not like the life of the party or whatever like I was when I was drinking, but I still I still really like to be around people. So I
Right.
don't know. Like I definitely, as much as I've looked at this, and I haven't studied it. I wouldn't say I've studied it because I haven't. But every time I go through a training like this, I'm always just like, no, I cannot for the life of me figure out a dominant one for myself. So I don't
Okay.
know.
Amy, let
Yeah.
me ask you something.
Mm.
What is it that you love the most about being able to do what you do?
Well, my main motivation was when I got pregnant and I knew that I wanted to be there for my kids and I didn't want to be away from my kids. So the main part of it for me is being able to spend time with my kids, being able to participate with their school and go on field trips with them, and not have anybody else dictate, my schedule. That being said, I'm not like Jordan where I sleep until 11 and I can, like, my schedule is very consistent because it has to be because I have kids and they go to school and they have activities and our schedule, it's like, I mean, it's a little bit flexible, but it's pretty structured. It's very structured.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we're
So,
definitely very social, but we're very structured too. That's what I mean. It's just like it's confusing to me.
well, I mean, the thing is like what a lot of people tend to do right now is they start to draw a distinction as an either or thing, like that a socializer is the only person that is social, and that's not true. It's just the one that's the one that's one of their main motivations is the social elements. And so, like I said, everyone has some of this, but and I totally agree with what Jordan said that when you get into a personal development space, with as smart as you are as well, and what people have seen here, we've been on these hangouts with you for over a year and a half now, and it's very clear to me that you've rounded yourself out very well. And so I'm not necessarily saying that it's not just one. Not nobody's just one. Like I wanted. That's why I said this is your signs and your dominant motivators, not who you are. And I want to keep and I have to keep saying that it's not who you are, it's what you're motivated by.
So
Because it's
just can it change over time? Like you're,
absolutely at what stage in your life you're at and what's going on with you is what's going to be present to your motivations. So you may have started this business for one reason, but you may be doing it for another now, or you may be doing it for the same, or you may do other things in your life for a different reason than you did originally. And so, like for instance, for me, I so long before I really finally got a way to get over myself was the achiever. I was all about achievement. I was all about making things happen. I was all about being the star. I was all about being the leader. I was all about achievement and money and motivation and competition. I was all about it. I was extremely that. And then I had some humbling experiences and realized I was going to destroy myself by always trying to be number one about everything. And I swung the pendulum to the other side and started to explore my life and realized that I was really happy by being a helper and realizing that I was balancing my life. And now I dominantly operate from more of a helper than anything else now, personally from what I see a lot than anything else, although I have traits of a leader. and I have some socializer traits, which were me in high school and college when I was social and I was a DJ and I was always having fun. So there's different times of the life where if I was in high school or college and someone came to me and was attempting to persuade me or to get me to join a business or to make a decision, if they talked about all the social elements from what a socializer does, then I would have probably made decisions from that. If they told me about how much fun it was going to be and how all of this was going to lead up to having more parties and being able to be in groups of people, having fun, I mean, I would have been all about it. And so much today, it would have been a little less for me. Like, well, that's cool and all, but, you know, here's what I'm about now. So you've rounded yourself out and done a lot of these. I would say right now, yours is probably still dominantly what's going to really, you know, get your blood boiling, so to speak, will be a lot of the helper traits. But let's see if we can finish this, and then we'll get a clear picture, a full encompassing picture after we look at all these. But real quickly, hey, Jordan or Amy, can you guys send a link to Perig? I want to pop him out for the next one here as well. Can one of you guys do that?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So let's get into this one, and that's a calculator. And this is the person who is the, you know, dominantly motivated by accuracy, being right, maintaining quality, quality control. This person you're going to find normally has a profession that has something to do with numbers and facts and figures or engineering. You know, these are your accountants. These are the people that keep track of stuff. These are the organized people. For them, the way they make decisions is really things have to make sense. They need the facts. They need the details. They're very detail-oriented. They're extremely analytical. They're problem solvers. Love solving problems. Very organized, timely, orderly. You know, they're not the people that are going to be late normally. Funny enough, I told Perig here, you know, hey, hopefully I can make it on time. But I said, you know, 9:45 my time, and sure enough, right at that time, he sent me a text saying, hey, I'm ready. Not at 9:44, not at 9:46, at 9:45. And so he's very much like that. And he's probably at this point very annoyed at the fact that I've taken 30 minutes longer than what I originally promised him. Perig, you there?
Yep, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. Hey. And first of all, let me apologize, as like I had told you, I haven't taught this in this format on a Hangout, so I didn't realize how long it was going to take to get through some of this stuff. So, yeah, but anyways, man, how are you liking this so far? How'd you like learning about the socializer helper?
Yeah, that's cool stuff. You know, I was listening to the first two or the first three that you went through, and you know, I was looking at the four that you had, and I was like, yeah, one of those is definitely me.
So here's what I would ask you, Perig, is obviously we're talking about a calculator, someone who's organized, and a lot of you who know, a lot of those who know Perig, have met Perig, would normally be able to say, okay, well, you know, Perig's probably dominantly this. You've got some other qualities, some great qualities as well in the other ones. No one's totally one, like I would say before. But Perig, what's your profession again?
I'm an engineer.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So, why did you choose engineering?
Because I kind of like the science part of it. I don't know. It was fun to kind of build stuff and make stuff work.
Build stuff and make stuff work. Now, what type of an engineer are you?
Optics.
Say it again.
Optics.
Optics engineer.
TVs, display, lights, stuff like that.
That's some heavy stuff, man. And I wanted, I mean, I knew that, but I just wanted people to hear that.
Sure.
So, you know, and the thing is here, now, would there be anything here that you're reading on this slide that would not be perfectly in alignment with how you would operate?
I'm reading the thing.
No, go ahead, take your time. It's all right. It's totally fine.
No, that's pretty much all me.
Okay. All right. Now, obviously, bro, I love it.
Yeah, maybe the motivated by being right. You know, that's not necessarily me, but
okay.
Everything else that we have on the slide, yeah.
Yeah, and see, and what I meant by that is, and there's a quick, and I wrote that for a reason. Here's the distinction about being right. It's not the egotistical part of I have to be right. It's you want to find the right answer to things.
Oh, then yes.
Absolutely. That's the difference. Is funny enough, a person like yourself who is motivated by a lot of the process and the methods and the facts and the details of what's happening. You want to make sure that all the I's are, dotted and the T's crossed. But also, I say here in the goals, low risk. But the funny thing is, you just want to know what the risk is. You're okay with taking risks on things. You just need to know what the risk is. You need to be upfront, and so isn't that true?
No, it's true. Yeah.
Okay, and the guarantees it's important. It's important for people to stand behind the quality of what they do. That's very, very important to you, right?
Yep.
So if I was to come to you and say, hey, Perig, you should join this deal. This is so much fun. We all have a blast. We have parties all the time. We all hang out in big groups, and we're having parties. It's loud music. We're, rolling down the street in 3 or 4 deep cars, and we always have fun on this thing, and we get together on the weekends, and then we do our business and all, but, we're always traveling together. Or, how would that feel to you? Is that something that would really get to you that makes you just want to join right away?
Well, don't get me wrong. I like to have fun, but if that's the only pitch, I was like, well, you didn't tell me anything about what it is about. I'm like, I need to know what's going on and what it is. I need the facts, right? I need information to be able to make my decision.
Yep. So, and what you'll notice, guys, is that as Perig says this, he's very thorough about what he's talking about, and he takes more words to eloquate what he's saying than normally the other motivators, the other signs, because he wants to make sure that everybody has all the information and understands exactly what he's saying. So he's going to say it in as many words as possible to say, I need all the facts, I need this. And so, but if I came to you and said, Perig, we've got this deal that it's a specific deal that helps you create residual passive income, that over time will help you pay down your debts and eventually get out of debt completely. It'll supplement your current income and be able to help you put a retirement plan together so that you can get out of your job quicker than retiring at age 55 or whatever it is. And how does that sound to you? Is that something you're open to?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay, so that makes a little more sense because it's actually things that make sense, things that are concrete and make sense, right?
Yeah, you can ask Jordan how many questions I asked him before when he sponsored me in a few things.
Jordan, come on out.
It took me weeks to get him to join my team for $500. It was like. Yeah, it took forever. I was surprised it didn't take quite as long as I thought it was going to take because of the way he is. But we laid down a pretty solid. We basically said like, here's our plan. We want to bring you in, get you going, and then feature you and make you one of the rock stars. Like, we want to put you on our shoulders. We want you to do this. That wasn't good enough for him. I was like, it's gonna boost your success a ton. Period, and that wasn't enough. He needed more. And I remember I was actually at work the one day, and I was getting, I think I was on break to talk to him. This is back when I'd spend hours on the phone talking to prospects to get them to join you so you could make like $100 or whatever. God, I think we talked for 45 minutes or an hour or something like that last day before he finally pulled the trigger.
Something like that, yeah.
Yep. So absolutely.
And what's interesting, though, is that, like Amy asked earlier, people change over time because, when you sponsor me in Empower, it took, 30 seconds? It's like, there's this thing coming up, you got to sign up, and I said yes. So, things, people, and the way we make decisions change over time.
Right. Well, the difference also
but you had also built trust, and Jordan had built trust with
you. Exactly. Thank you, Amy. You totally nailed it, Amy. That's exactly what it is. He had already worked with Jordan in the past, knew Jordan's tendencies, knew Jordan what he was about, and what was coming up. And so it was like, hey, this is just our next deal. And he's like, all right, let's do it. You know.
Yeah, and it was low risk for me because I already knew Jordan, exactly like Amy said. It's already had a trust. The trust was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew that he was predictably unpredictable.
Yeah. Even more so then than now.
Yeah. And so, you know, the real needs of someone when you're talking to someone, guys, is, you know, just like Perig's talking about here, the real needs are, you know, is it going to be there? You know, like he asked all the questions he could about the company as well, I'm sure, because he wants to know that the company's going to be there, that it's, you know, there's security in that, that there's a predictable outcome that he can bank on if he just does what he's shown to do. And, you know, just like we talk about producers, if you do the work, you know, you can expect a certain outcome. But funny enough, yeah, you need all the facts. Like, all the details need to be hashed out. Normally, calculators will take the longest to make decisions because they are weighing all of the facts, and they're going to make a decision scientifically. I like how you said at the beginning there, Perig, you said, you know, I was like, what do you love about engineering? And you're like, well, you know, I like the science of it. And if you talk to a socializer about that, they're going to go, boring. You know, it's just not the same thing that gets them going. Now, here's the thing. Perig will hang out with us at events, and we all have a blast. He has fun with us. I mean, it's not like Perig's not a boring person. I mean, we're going to his wedding in Bali. You know, me and Jordan are honored to be standing up for him in his wedding. I mean, cool stuff is happening. Perig is not, you know, what I want you guys to not do is paint people into a box and say, oh, that's just them through and through. This is just what motivates them. Because Perig has pretty much all of this here. He's a through and through pretty much motivated by this. You know, accurate and maintaining quality, accuracy, the analytical as heck, and this is just how he is. And this is pretty much how he's wired. This is just how he's wired to make decisions. And he can develop other parts because your brain can wire itself to draw connections in ways that it wasn't born with. But this was probably the way you were born. Am I right, Perig?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. All right. Okay.
No,
so
I suppose. I mean, I've always been pretty much an analytical guy since, you know, when I started school. I was, you know, a math and science person. So. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason I brought you out, you know, was to help draw the distinctions here. But, you know, a lot of it comes down to when I'm talking to somebody, you know, right away I would have been able to pick up that I would be speaking your language if I asked you, you know, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm an engineer. Oh, what do you love about what you do? What do you like best about what you do? Well, I love the science of it. You know, okay, all right. I would be getting clues already that you're a very well-grounded person that likes details and likes the process of things. And not to say that there's scientists and engineers that are other things. You'll see that from time to time. But it's my best hint to go, okay, well, let's dig a little deeper that way. Let's get a little more into, you know, the process here and see if this person makes decisions based on everything that makes sense. And I know that if he's telling me what he's telling me, that when I'm talking to him, attempting to get him to buy a product, I have to make sure I'm giving him all the facts and communicating to him the risk. Whether it's low risk or high risk, he needs to know what the real risk is. And the biggest thing here that you can do to turn off a calculator is embellish or make something seem what it's not. Because people who calculate like this, they're the best people of discernment ever, because they notice every little detail about people. They pay very close attention to your body language, your tone of voice, what you say, and how you say it. And they're analyzing all of that. And so they'll be able to discern whether or not you're being completely truthful better than just about anybody else. So this is something to keep in mind when you're talking to a calculator. I've encountered many calculators when I'm on the phone, and I have to talk to them, making sure that I'm covering all my bases. You know, I write down, okay, we've got a calculator. This is essentially their language, and I have to make sure that I'm going to communicate the guarantee, and make sure they have the real facts, the low risk, what can be expected. You know, the security aspect of it, the stable aspect, the predictable aspect, and making sure I'm completely accurate about what I'm saying. And that's what the calculator is going to respect more than anything else. if I tried to talk to him like a socializer, like Perik said himself, yeah, that's cool and all, but I need more. It's not necessarily his language. And like I said, you can speak multiple languages. Amy does absolutely speak all four. I would just come out and say that now, but she does. However, there's some discovery going on here that we'll talk about at the end here with Amy, that we may pin on one or two that may be a little more dominant than the others, and I'll probably be happy with that because Amy's pretty set on making sure she's all four, which is actually funny enough indicative of the next personality, or the next sign. See, I do it too. But Perik, just wanted to give you a quick chance here, bud. Is there any insight that you've gained into this after being involved in this here, talking about this? Any last thoughts?
No, I just, some people don't. I think Amy is right that some people might belong to a lot of different portion of this quadrant here, and for me, I actually don't mind being in this one. It's who I am, and I'd rather become very good at it, at this one, and not necessarily try to become very good at all of them. And I think a lot of people say, "Oh man, I'm only 1 out of 4. I want to be 4 of them," but that's not necessarily the best way of going at it. And when you speak, one thing I want to say here is when you speak to a calculator, a hype is not going to work. Excitement, excitement sometimes, but not if there's no facts. And calculator are most likely not going to make the decision on the spot. So if you get someone that, you talk to them and definitely calculator and they don't necessarily want to upgrade right away to, buy the products or whatever, that's fine. They're going to, watch the video and see what it is and understand what it is and look how it fits into what they're doing. And, if they make a decision, they'll make the decision for real and not, backtrack on the decision, but it might take time.
Exactly.
Yep.
Chris, is there such a thing as being good at one and not good at another? I mean, is it like he said, he doesn't want to try to be good at all of them? Is it a matter of trying, or is it just a matter of it is what it is?
I mean, in my opinion, we can, you can improve on all of them. Personally, I'm not necessarily the socializer. I have Cyril for that. She takes care of that for me. But if I have to be social, I'll be social. But I'm not gonna be the one who's gonna do everything for. I'm not necessarily gonna be the one doing the first or taking the first steps or really try to go and say hi to everybody and things like this. That's if people come and talk to me, I'll be very social. But I'm not necessarily gonna be the one making the first move. Right. So, but I think we all have some of all the fours. But in my opinion, or at least in my case, I'm definitely have that major one for sure.
Yeah, it's the one that energizes you the most. You have all four. You really have elements of all four, right? We're human beings. We're not labels. But what I'm saying here is you have one that charges you more than others, and that would be the dominant way to speak to someone. Just like with you, Perik, you're dominantly motivated by being right, accurate, and maintaining quality, and not necessarily being right like I'm right all the time. You know what I'm talking about. We're in search of the truth here. Is what we're in search of. And so with this, it's like, to you feel that you do best where you're at right here, and so you want to be the best at what you are right here, right?
Yeah, and I'll love helping people, but I'll do it in a way that's in line with my calculator profile here, or I'll help people do things or solve problems or do things that I'm very good at because that's my main character here.
Absolutely.
Chris, are people drawn to other, like he's drawn to Cyril, she's very social. Is that typical that
Yes, and that's actually the next thing I was going to get into. God, I love you, Amy. You really do. I mean, this is really where I was going next with this. I was like, maybe we should bring Cyril out, but we might be able to here if we have time. But I was going to get into that, actually. And yes, what you're going to find is in mostly with relationships, you're going to find the opposites attract thing happens a lot. And here's where this has saved this training that I've seen with a lot of people take this training. This is where it has saved marriages. You see, just like Perig said, I have Cyril for that, because we all pretty much know Cyril's the socializer helper. Like, that's who she is. She loves being that, right? She's pretty much a natural cross with both of those. And so that balances out Perig, because, you know, Cyril has all of those things and does all of those things that Perig doesn't necessarily have to do or want to do, but he appreciates it in her. It's the opposites attract thing. And Cyril, the same way, sees Perig as this rock that is secure and stable and always has the answer, and she can rely on him. He's completely reliable, and all those things she completely appreciates and loves about him, which is why she was attracted to him and why it worked, right? That's where the attraction came in, because she was all those things to him as well. Very much opposites attract. But what happens over time, and this is cool, we get to talk about this because Perig and Cyril, you guys are getting married, is that over time you resort to your dominant way of operating, which is what motivates you. And so over time you may start to, well, get on Cyril's nerves. But the funny thing is, she may get on yours, because you may have certain things of you like and are used to doing, and she can't necessarily understand over time why you do them that way or why you say things a certain way. And so over time, people forget, like, what makes each other different, why you complement each other well. And you start to almost grow some resentment over the fact that, a calculator is gonna, the way you really show you care to Cyril is to find the right answer and to be able to show her, hey, here's what I figured out. Here's what this is. Here's how I think we should do this. This is the way I've been able to understand this. And she may be saying, look, this is the fun thing to do. Let's do this, and I love doing this because I'm motivated by helping people. Let's go do this, and let's go have fun. Let's go have these groups of people. And it may tire you to be in large groups of people all the time, whereas Cyril could be there and love it all the time because she's energized by that. You're energized by more so being either with yourself or with one or two other people in a more focused environment. Does that make sense, Perig?
Have you been spying on us, Chris?
I do know what I'm talking about here. This is not BS. This really is. Like, I know Amy's giving me a run for my money here with being able to bring a lot of light to this, where this is not a black and white thing, which I totally appreciate. However, this really can, if understood, can help open dimensions up to people that they may have never realized that their spouse is the diametrically opposed opposite, sign to them. And when they start to be able to understand what really motivates their spouse, then they know, and this is where it gets good, then they know how to put the spice back in the relationship. Does that start to make a little more sense? So, all right. Okay, so calculator, they're essentially the ones that love the facts and figures, and they're the most reliable people that you're going to find. You know that if they tell you something, they mean it, and you can take it to the bank. That's just how they are. That's what they love. That's what's important to them, right? And they're the ones that have wisdom about things because they're always looking and learning and wanting to solve problems. So they're normally the ones that have a lot of wisdom about a lot of things. People come to them for advice, and they're the ones that can discern people right away. They actually can tell a lot about people right away. That's why, although, with Jordan, he was like, okay, I'm going to get all these facts and figures, but then, they're friends. They've still, even outside of business, they're friends. He understands Jordan's heart. He knows where Jordan comes from. And Perig knows how to do that better than just about anybody. Because, this is a dominant way of operating where you're essentially analyzing everything as you go. It's like breathing to you. It's your natural way of operating, right? Someone who's not kind of sees that and goes, wow, that feels tiring to be analyzing all day long and naturally organizing all day long. Me, I'm kind of organized, but not really, and kind of makes me tired when I have to constantly organize all the time. I'm not naturally calculating.
Yep,
So-
it's fine. It's fine to me.
Yeah, totally. See, makes sense. There you go. Okay, so I am going to move on, but to
Sure
able
thing.
to make sure that we get done in a timely fashion here tonight. Parrot, I very much appreciate you coming out and being an example for me, bro. And that was awesome.
Sure, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
if you have a minute, Cyril, like with that meet, she says, if you want to take me, bring me out, I'll be available, towards the end of the call if you guys
If we have
bring me
time,
out.
I want to see if I can blast through this last one, and I'd love to get her on
Sure
because
thing.
then it would really be cool to draw some distinctions here and see where she's coming from too. It really would. It's fun. I love this stuff.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but let's see if we can move on for now, and obviously you can hear me talking because she's on the Hangout. So cool, Sarah. We'll see if we can. Okay. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right, Barry. Just you can hang out here too. Stay on the Hangout. With us
sure.
and everything. But I can't even see anybody. I'm looking at my screen. So. But anyways, so let's roll on to the Achiever. Real simple, guys. The Achiever, dominantly motivated by results, challenge, action, power, and yeah, they definitely want to have credit for their achievement. Now that's someone who is a screaming achiever, the through and through achiever, which I was at a time in my life to where it almost killed me because the natural tendency of an achiever is to not take care of themselves in constant pursuit of a goal. They're very decisive, goal-oriented, achievement-driven people, extremely independent, and they're the take-charge, natural leader type of people. They're very persistent, competitive. They love competition, love challenges. They normally come across as very confident people, always productive. They're the ones that are going to produce more. Normally the high top producers you see are these achiever personality types because that's what they love doing the best. They have fun achieving. They have fun competing. They have fun in competitions. It turns them on, right? So they're the ones that are, bold and strong-willed and self-reliant and very solution-oriented. This is just the type of person they are. When they shake your hand, they're going to lean in. You're going to know who they are, just in the way that they give a firm handshake and the tone of their voice. And they're normally going to tell you their first and last name so that you remember it. That's the type of person that's an achiever. Their interest obviously comes around, they feel that rush of power when they achieve a goal. So it's not necessarily having power to manipulate people. A lot of people can look at this and say, well, this seems like a very self-serving, selfish person when it comes out to it. Not necessarily true. All four signs contribute to the greater good. They just do it in a different way. All of them. So they want to be able to have power to be able to infect things, to be able to create change in organizations. They really get jazzed by that too. Not just being, number one. They want to be number one to be an example for others, right? So their interests are about, they want to be able to have respect from people so that they can lead them, right? It's not just respect me because my ego tells me you should, right? It's having the respect to make it work, to produce. And then, status is the same thing as respect is, look, I've done this now follow me. Like, let me put you on my shoulders and I'll lead you to the promised land. And money helps because for them, it's a measurement. It's not always that, the actual money, is the thing. It's the measurement. Because to them, it's how they gauge how successful they are and how much significance they're creating in the world. Okay? So their goals, obviously, is, be number one because that's how they feel they can affect the world the most, is being the example. Funny enough, why do you think I named the team Be the Change? Setting the example, right? There's a lot of me still in here in the achiever that I will resort to at times, not necessarily resort to, but operate in still to this day. But we're about accomplishment. We feel good when we accomplish things, and we want to be able to rally others to accomplish. That's why we like to lead. We like to stand out in front to be able to lead people. And being recognized for it, which once again comes back around to affecting the greater good. Now, yes, there are those people that have not done a lot of personal work on themselves, and yes, the downside of this is that your interests of power, respect, and status and money can be very self-serving. But it's not always like that, however it seems that way. Your goals of being number one, accomplishing, standing out, can be seem like they're just an egotistical goal that is only serving your ego and who you are. And it's not always like that. But because of that, the achiever personality, the achiever sign, will turn a lot of people off because they're not normally understood too much. You got to understand, the needs of an achiever is if they don't have a challenge in front of them, they're dying. They need a challenge. It charges them. That's how they operate. They need something in front of them. They're going to make decisions quickly and move quickly without very little thought. Opposite to a calculator who is going to take as much time as they need and to a detriment at times, can have a calculator can sometimes they'll take too long. That can be the downfall of a calculator if they let it happen, is it'll take too long and sometimes it's too late. Or they look back and realize they took too long to make a decision and they see how they could have benefited or made a benefit better had they taken a shorter time. Well, with the achiever, they are constantly making decisions and they don't think about it much. This is the thing. This is the funny thing that a lot of you may have heard David Wood talk about on stage when he's talking about dreams and people achieving stuff, and he says, I know that if I get some of you to this event and you see that one-armed, one-legged midget crossing the stage making 10 grand a month, you say to yourself, if that one-armed, one-legged midget is crossing the stage making 10 grand, I'm going to kill this thing and make 50 grand my first month. Now, you may not have any factual basis to make that call, but because you want to compete and you're always sizing up your competition, because to you, just like what the Greek word of competition is to compete is for the mutual benefit of everyone, to make everyone better, you as a competitor want to make everyone better and raise the bar for everyone to compete. And you hope that you're the best at it, which is why you work the hardest, why you work the longest hours, why you constantly skip meals because you want to be getting everything done you can, and it's about 11 o'clock at night when you finally realize you haven't eaten lunch or dinner. And that's the type of person that an achiever, when they operate in that mindset, it can be tough because you can really wear yourself out. The needs of an achiever is, they're very results oriented, getting to the point type people, but they have to feel like they're getting stuff done all the time. I find myself, sitting at my computer a lot of the time because I have this need to feel like I am doing work. And then I look back and I'm like, wow, I need to be more productive. And I'm sitting there all day. Like, how do I get more productive? Well, I actually need to be more efficient at what I'm doing, which is where a calculator is best at. They're very, very efficient at planning out their day, knowing what they're going to do at what time. And you can pretty much bet that Cyril knows what time Perig is taking a bite of his sandwich every day, and it's probably going to be one of a couple different types of food that he rotates, if not the same one, almost every day because it works. It makes sense. It's easy, and you don't have to think about it. So it's very different than the achiever that doesn't think like that. They don't plan. They're essentially planning in every moment, attempting to do as much as they can. They're normally always late to stuff because they're busy getting 3 times the work done in the same amount of time as anybody else. So they push themselves. The downfall is you burn out. And when you burn out, you tend to go hang out with the helpers, or you tend to go hang out with the socializers, because you can't seem to get a charge anymore from achieving stuff because you burned yourself out. Now you need to get charged by other people and other people helping you because you've drained your resources. This, of all of the different signs, can be the most volatile sign out of all of them. And I'm speaking to you from personal experience. This is the set of signs, the achievers, that are the ones that have the nervous breakdowns because they push themselves and push themselves and push themselves. And they're the person that, to them, fun is achieving, fun is work, fun is accomplishing things. You're not always going to find achievers out doing a lot of social things and having a lot of fun, like in social settings, because they're working overtime, or if they're self-employed or run a business, they're working at that business 12 hours a day, whether they have to or not, because they want to see the production. To them, and they feel good, they feel significant, they feel charged by getting a lot done. They feel like they're making a difference. That's how they make a difference. The helper makes a difference by supporting people. Yet the drawback of a helper is that they will enable people. let me jump up here to the helper real quick and talk about the dark side of being a helper. A helper, you know, you would think that they're the least common person to have an instant gratification mindset. You normally see that with achievers. They want to have it right now. Any way they can have what they want right now, and they'll work towards it. But with the helpers, their instant gratification is disguised. I like to call it disguised. Because it's a self-serving thing to want to help others because it still makes you feel good. It makes you feel good about yourself. If you have somebody call you and they're wanting to borrow money and you're a helper, doesn't it feel great to be able to loan them that money? Guess what? Don't fool yourself. That's a self-serving thing. Okay? So just like every sign can contribute to the greater good in their own way, every sign has the drawbacks that they can sabotage themselves with, their natural tendencies. Because what a helper will do is they won't learn like what a calculator will do and know that, you know, I've loaned that person money a couple times, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to have the ability to repay it. And if I do it, all I'm doing is enabling them to go create the same behavior that's going to have them coming back asking for more money in the short future, in the near future. The calculator knows that. And so out of love, the calculator loves that person by saying, you know what, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm not going to loan you this money because I want to help you, because I want to see you get yourself out of this state. I can't enable you to keep yourself in that place. The helper will go and do it because they want to see that person. They want to feel good about helping that person. And they want to see that person get out of the instant state of suffering that they're in. Helpers see suffering and they instantly go without thinking. Just like the achiever instantly says, I'm going to be number one when they size up their competition without really getting all the facts and figures like a calculator would. See, the helper has this gratification just like anybody else. And so you've got to be aware of that because you're the people that will eventually, usually, and you know who I'm talking, you helpers out there, you know who I'm talking to, where how many of you have bought your products for the people you've brought in? And, you know, you don't have to tell me, just think about it for yourself, that you've probably done that a lot because you wanted to see them get the product because you knew it would benefit them. You knew it would help them. You knew they could make money from it. So you wanted to help them. So you did it. Calculator's not going to do that. They want to make sure that you earned it. So everybody has tendencies that can hold you back. And a helper, that's a tough one, is helping people too much to the detriment of yourself. And I know I hit home with some of you here tonight when it comes to that, because you start to think about all those people you have hopes for, that you have helped over and over again. You begin to wonder if you're really going to help them. You won't. You begin to wonder if what you've done has really helped them or hurt them. And it's a tough conversation. So it's okay to help people, but don't let it go too far. Don't continue to enable people when they've proven to you that all you're doing is enabling them. That's what you'll find a helper doing a lot, because they want to be there for people. Now a socializer, oh, dude, they just want to make people feel good. So if they've got their last $10, if someone says, hey, you got $10, they're like, dude, here you go. Not even a thought. You know, totally different. Theirs is, you know, hey, they want to make everyone happy, so it's not about any of that. Like, hey, it's your money's my money's your money. We're in a group. We're out hanging out, having fun, having drinks. You know, I'll buy the round if I can. You know, and they do that because they have the personality to charm anybody into borrowing more money when they need it. They have that because they're naturally gifted with people. They make people smile. They see the good in people. They can look at you and see who you are and tell you who you are and point out the good things about you and smile at you. Make people feel good. That's what socializers do. So I'm going to jump here to the end and come back to this slide. And hopefully you can look at this and say, if I have a spouse, which language are they? And which one charges them the most? Because they probably have traits of all four. But which one would move them the most? And if you don't know, test it. Speak to them in a way that's all about results and put a challenge in front of them and see if they respond. If they're a socializer, or if you think they are, speak to them in a way that's about whatever we're going to do, the reward is going to be fun. Whatever fun is for them, and you better know what fun is for them at this point if they're your spouse. And if they're a calculator, make it make sense and be thorough. And if it's a helper, talk in terms of the cause. They want to be a part of the cause. We're doing it for this person. We're doing it for this person. Or if you say, do it for me, that's what's going to move that person. So when it comes down to it, if I ask someone, what do they do? What do they love about what they do? Why do they choose what they do? What do they do for fun? It's a big tell. And from there, I can normally say, okay, they may not be all of these qualities, but I know a few of their buttons. I know a few buttons. I know a few dominant things I can say in a way that's going to get them to respond and be open and receptive to me. And once I have that, I have them. And they have me. Because I watched David Wood on stage with Paul Gardner, and he did this same thing. Because believe it or not, Dave knows this stuff just like me. We practice it together a lot when we were building our team up in Alaska. And he had 3 questions that he asked Paul Gardner when he was on stage. And now Paul Gardner, now you guys, those of you guys who know Paul, he's an MMA fighter, tough guy, awesome guy, wears his emotions on his sleeve, which most fighters do. And you'd never really know what his motivation was until Dave asked him 3 questions. And by the time he got to the 3rd question, he had Paul in tears, because he cut to the core of who he is and why he's doing this. And it was because of his daughter. And he never wanted to see his daughter have to suffer again. And if you can find the why in people, even above and beyond what moves them in terms of an achiever or a socializer or a calculator or a helper, find out why they're doing what they do. It's going to tell you a lot about them. And it's not as difficult as a lot of you think if you simply turn it around and genuinely listen to what people are telling you. And this framework here will help you to start understanding how people move, what motivates them, what moves them, and how they make decisions. So we got like 5 minutes here. You want to bring Sarah out real quick, just for a minute or two?
Yep. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me go grab her.
Cool.
She's listening, but I think there's a delay, so let me go grab her.
I would love to see what she has to say about this now after watching this whole thing. While we're doing that, Amy, any thoughts?
No, I mean, I get that, like, it doesn't really matter if you even, like for me, I still don't feel like I'm dominant in any of them, but it's still, I get that it's helpful to just kind of understand what makes people tick, to be able to communicate with them and understand what they're motivated by. So, I mean, yeah, it's really valuable. I also feel like it's still confusing to me, because I feel like when you're in a situation where somebody's got traits of all of them, then you can't really speak to one of them. Like in my case, like, I just feel like I'm so much of all of them, so I don't know how somebody would be able to, I don't see how it would, like, help you or help somebody if they were trying to, sell me something or whatever. Like, which one would they talk to?
Right, and that I'm going to cover in part 2
okay.
on the inside with everybody when I actually break out the worksheets and people see me do this live, and I'm going to record it and see how I break this down with people, because I only went over the personalities, but I did not really break down how you actually start to influence these people. This is only part 1, and all I wanted to accomplish tonight was for people to understand the different motivations people have. And I'll tell you right now, here's one thing for you, Amy. As much as I've done this, I've seen this happen quite a bit. What I would say is, and I'm not going to necessarily say I'm fully right, but my observation is that the achiever in me doesn't like to be put in a box and likes to have all four naturally. And so for me, I know I'm pretty much back and forth between an achiever and helper, which is unique, just like you are, because you're as well, in my opinion, the two ways that dominantly move you is causes and contributions and results and challenges. I know that you get very amped about competitions, and yet at the same time, you're so heart-centered in what you want to be able to contribute to and what you want to do and the greater good that you have and your family, is that it's a beautiful mix, because it doesn't happen as often as some people may think. Normally you see other crossovers, like an achiever socializer.
But I'm like strong calculator too. Like I am adamant about being on time, about keeping my word, like I'm like to a fault. So I don't feel like calculator is any less than anything else. For
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And the socializer piece is definitely there too. It's just it's there in a different way than it used to be. But yeah, I just yeah, like I said, I don't feel like there's any dominant ones at all for me. But that's me. Just everyone that you talked about, I was like, that's me. All of it, every single thing you said.
But you are extremely intelligent, so the calculator part, you're there with that. It's just that. And the thing is, it's not everybody's created equal, where you have a certain amount of this or a certain amount of that. You have a lot of these, like we said from the start. So what that also means is there's a lot of buttons to push with you, because that means a lot of these are motivated, which is good. But also easy to sell. Sometimes, not always. But for the most part, and what I did, and believe it or not, guys, I went away from this for a while because I felt like you, Amy, where I didn't want to. I was like, am I really limiting people by looking at them as one dominant motivation? And even the other trainers and people that teach this stuff, they always say there's a dominant and a secondary, and sometimes even another secondary. But the main thing is to know the dominant one, because you have traits of all. Everybody does. And what I know is that after doing this for years, talking with people, I have been able to, every single time, I get people's number. And I know that I can operate from one or two of those signs, and that person becomes open and receptive to me and starts doing what I recommend. And it does help. So there's exceptions to everything, and yes, Amy, you are quite exceptional. Sure. I'm not going to doubt that at all. But I still would maintain that I know how to talk to you. And if you don't want to, it's okay. But I know how to talk to you. So this is something that you'll see more of it as we do part 2 and we get more into it on the inside when we do training on the inside. Because I'm going to do 2 more parts, because we actually promised 2 parts for our RTF courses. And this was the part that I thought I might put into part 1, but then I realized this was too important, because not only could I help people with their business, but I could help them understand how to connect and relate with people and understand, the basic ways that people are motivated and what speaks to them. And this can help them with their relationships, with their spouse, with friendships, family members even. When I learned this stuff, I was able to change all of that and understand how to talk to even my aunt, who everybody couldn't stand, because she was an extreme calculator, and we were like, why are you so this way? And I started to understand her. Now she loves me, So it definitely has transformed a lot in my life as well. But yeah, there's not, this is not a rigid black and white thing. So, but it works. It does work. Perig, is you got Cyril out there now?
Hey Chris, I'm here. Hi Amy, hi Jordan.
Hey Cyril, how are you?
Hi guys. I'm doing great, thank you. You're great. I was enjoying listening.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Which one do you think you are out of all these?
Naturally, I think I'm a socializer.
No, you don't say.
Although naturally, because when I reflect on it, my personality actually, you learn to adapt, and you know to adapt to conditions. Because when I was in high school, elementary school through high school, I was an achiever. Also, I mean, still, I love competition. I was in sport. I was in swimming team, and I was actually on. I'm like the president of the student body. So when I was in high school, I mean, I'm still an achiever, but I was actually really focused on achieving and results. So that was my high school and my college years.
Wow.
Yes, and I mean, until now, I'm a president of a Talking Heads. I mean, Toastmasters, public speaking.
Hmm.
So that's now. I think, well, you're learning how to adapt to other people, especially in business. Now you are an entrepreneur. You are your own boss. Then you are adapting to, like you mentioned earlier, Chris. Amy, also, you are adapting to other people. You learn about talking to other people, and you're getting older. You're more mature, right, so to speak. So you are adapting, and then you're reflecting and learning all other individuals, like becoming more fun with people, becoming more helper, and becoming, learning calculator facts and figures, and throughout the time, it's very essential that you learn all these characters. But I think when again come to my natural characters, I'm more attractive to fun. I think mostly, maybe not fun. Perhaps it's a goodness. I'm a sucker for positivity, so I love to be surrounded by positive, and I don't want to waste time with other people that like wasting my time.
Hmm.
But like for fun and for causes and for help, I'm all for that. And for facts and figures and result and challenges, again, why I'm also, like you mentioned earlier, opposite attract with Perix. When we were dating, also the first time we were trying to find out whether or not this is, we can, whether or not it's gonna work. But I think when you think about it, everybody has their own strength and weaknesses, and then you can, mold into one, and you can adapt through your spouse or through your partner.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny. It should be mentioned that what we found with a lot of this stuff is that your parents have a lot to do with
Yep.
with this and how you brought up. Um,
Yes.
I had a helper. If you ask my mother when she looks at these, she's like, "Well, you're a helper." If you ask my father, he says, "Well, you're an achiever." Funny how you play different parts in different parts of your life as well.
Yes.
So which are the ones that make you make decisions in terms of what part of your life, you know?
Right.
And
Is correct.
so
Yes.
yeah, and so I understand, like how you came off to me, like what I basically when I met you, you were, this was, in the last year and a half where I essentially was like, she pretty much seems as a crossover from a socializer and a helper. I mean, really into fun and people, and loves connecting with
Yes.
people, and very much about the cause and contributing to everything. And I was like, well, yeah, through and through, that's where you're operating at now. Now, if I
Yes. Thank
talk
you.
to you a lot about results and challenges right now, it may not necessarily be the biggest thing for you now when it was in the past, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So in the
Yes.
moment when we're talking with someone, it's about where they're at now, which is why, yes, it can evolve, it can change, but that's why when you ask somebody in the moment these questions about, what do they love to do, what do they do for fun, what is
Right.
it that they, what do they love about what they do, they're going to tell you in the now how they see it. And
Yes. Yes.
so that's
Uh,
how, I see it.
yes. I mean, speaking about the moment, Chris, how you know how to about connecting with people, or how you communicate with people. When you focus about the moment, then you really focus on what their strength, like in the moment right now. Are they for fun? Are they for a bigger cause, maybe through church, to community, or are they I mean, very analytical, or even right achiever. So I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Okay, Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming out. Yeah, I mean that's
Thank you.
that's cool insight actually into it.
Right.
And like I said, it's like I said from the beginning. I don't like to type people. I mean, I've said it myself from the beginning. I don't like to put people in one box. And I know I drew these as boxes. Maybe I should have drawn them as something else other than a box, a square box. But it's really not necessarily saying this person has just these, because no one has all these. I want to continue to preface that this is not that simple. This is a simplified way of understanding people and what motivates them.
Yes.
And it's dynamic. It is. And people grow, and in different phases of their life, they take on that particular dominant trait or dominant set of motivations based on their life circumstances a lot of the time.
Right.
And so some of it may be the way you're naturally wired, and then some of it may be how you were brought up, what your upbringing was, what your stimulus and your environment was. All I know is we can talk and argue or debate about the validity of what this is for people, but I know that this is one of the main reasons why I've been able to do what I do. And so there's got to be validity to it at this point. Maybe I don't always do the best way of coming across with it in terms of explaining it, but it's what I've done and really made a habit of that I found that works for me. So, but Cyril, thanks so much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I miss you guys. I'll see you soon.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Bye.
Bye. So yeah, that's what I got, guys. Essentially, and the second part is second and third parts about how we do this on the phone in your business. We're gonna do on the inside for people, and that'll be some fun for you guys, taking it to the next level. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna turn it on over. Jordan, got any thoughts?
Stellar training, man. I can't wait to see. What you pull out on the inside for the people that own ITF. It's gonna be awesome, man.
Right on.
And I think, yeah.
Cool. Amy?
Yeah, it's awesome.
She's like, yeah, it's awesome. She's like, I'm still none of them. That's the achiever in us. We don't want to be typed as one. We hate that. We're independent. We don't want it. I'm gonna keep plugging her on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, it's interesting because I definitely I see these different personalities, but I also feel like pretty much everybody's all of them in some respect, and so that's why, like, all the times I've seen this training, I have never really done anything with it because I feel like, I don't know, I don't understand really how to use it. So hopefully part 2 will help me understand that a little bit more.
Well, the thing is, Amy, you because you have this analytical side, you have like a genius IQ. You're way intelligent, and so you're already, like you normally do, go like 3 more steps and ask all of the pertinent questions about this, like how does this work? What does this mean? What does this mean in terms of this? Or how does this work in terms of this? And we're gonna get there. It's just I couldn't do all that in 2 hours here tonight because I wanted to thoroughly help people understand the basics of this.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm excited about, because the other times I've seen this presented, it's been basically like, these are the personalities. It's like, great, that's awesome that there's different personalities. Like, I didn't know that, So now what? And I've never seen it taken to like, okay, so this is what you do with this.
Yeah, the moment I finally said, you know what, I don't feel good about typing people and putting them in just one box, and what if there's more to this, was a revelation for me, because then when I was talking to people, I was like, oh, they've got secondary traits here that I can, if I'm listening to them, I can point out. And when I point those out, the fact that I can listen for them and I can regurgitate it back to them and say, look, based on what you're telling me, you seem like the kind of person who likes this, this, and this, and this. And when I've essentially heard like a dominant and a secondary, sign, I talk about the character traits of that sign, and I say, now I'm willing to bet, or I'm willing to guess, that you're the type of person that, when a calculator, it's like you're very organized, you're on time, these types of things, and they're like, yeah, Or when I talk to a helper, I'm like, I'm willing to bet you're the type of person who loves causes, you love people, you have a heart for people, you're always a part of some kind of organization, this is what you love to do for fun time, and your friends, and they're like, yeah, and it's like, okay, and so they're like, this person gets me, they understand me. And so they trust, you build trust with them. And the thing is, here's the other thing about this. This is not ingenuine. I love this tool because it helps me be able to understand and connect with people better. It helps me understand people more. It helps me manage people. So, you know, if there's any managing that goes on, it helps me manage myself with people is what it really is. And that's how you build, you know, that's how trust happens, is people know that they get you, you know. So the biggest thing really, I mean, you'll just see a major transformation if you just learn to listen to people. And when people know you're listening, they're already going to open up even more. But you've normally got to ask the right questions. And that's what most people won't do. Mm-hmm. And listen to it. So it just comes back around to, you know, when you form somebody and you ask them those questions, what we're really going to get into in the next training is, if they say this, then what does that mean? And how am I going to package that back into what I'm going to say to them that gets them to make a decision? How am I going to move them? How do I press those buttons? Because there's some people that I've talked to, and it's just flat out after talking to them, I'm like, I just don't even know if this is right for you. Because I've listened to them, and I know where they're at, and I know what's going on with them. Because there's so much more than just this. So much more. And what you'll find is that listening to the personalities trains your mind to be attentive to other dimensions of that person. And then you find out that you remember more and you hear more about what they're telling you that's unique about them, and that you remember about them even later. And when you bring those up, I've had people that are like, how did you remember I even told you that? And I'll bring that up to them when I see them at an event, when I talk to them on the phone. And they're like, whoa. Well, it's because I've been listening in a frame of mind to where I've trained my mind to listen to everything that's going on, because in my mind I'm like, write down this, here's their strength, their goal, their need. You know, the sign, SIGN, strength, interest, goals, needs, you can do that without a personality type. The personality type or the sign of the different ways they're motivated helps. But the next level of this, which is where, Amy, you're more at already, is understanding uniquely that person and being able to regurgitate that back to them. I'm going to show you guys how to do that too. So that's what we got.
Cool.
So on that note, for those of you that were here tonight that may not be in the team, you may not even have a business, you may, although, want to find a way to create extra income in your life, or you know that you may want something more out of life than what you already have, you may want to find a way to get out of debt, reduce your debt, set up a retirement plan, or you may want to find a way to have more fun, more free time in your life to spend with your family or your friends. And if any four of those are the case, including helping your family out and being able to be a part of something that really matters, which I can guarantee you get on the inside of this team and you'll see that, then click the link below, get your viral blog, it's your own online journal. You can learn it to market products, whatever you want, or the Empower Network products itself, and learn the marketing training that we have for you. So on that note, click the link below, get started with us, and you'll learn the other dimensions to this training that you can apply to anything in life, in business, and in relationships, and in your job, and whatever else. So if you guys got anything else, that's it, and we will see the rest of you on the Masters call tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we've got our special branding training going on. Don't forget to get on the inside so you can be a part of that and see how that works and how you actually brand yourself in a business and how you create funnels and how a lot of that happens and how people create large incomes. We're actually going to do case studies. So we'll see you there. Click the link below, get on the inside. We'll see you then. We love you guys. Take care. Good night.
Love you. Good night.